Hello, guys. Adam here from Switch Indie Fix, and I'm bringing you episode 10 of the Switch Indie Fix podcast. The day is the 22nd of September. It's a nice autumn day here in Vienna, and today we have a very special guest on the podcast, and that is Age of Boredom. Stevie, say hello.
Howdy. I don't know where to
Howdy.
look because of all the cameras.
Yeah. For the people of you out there who, some people watch on YouTube, some people listen, and some people can also watch us on Instagram. So what Stevie's referring to is we have a camera recording for YouTube, we have a camera recording for Instagram, then I have a mic for Instagram and a mic for YouTube and a mic for the recording as well. So we're kind of all over the place. It's fun though. It's been a lot of trial and tribulations the last hour to get everything up to standard and ready to record, but we think we're there now, and I'm really excited for today's show.
Yeah, everything looks like it's working, so
yeah. Like I say, we have a very photogenic picture of Stevie. Of if you're watching over on YouTube, his nice shapely man beard coming down to his chin, his blurred background. It's a very artistic look for the podcast, whereas I kind of look almost like an angel because I have a light on right above me, and yeah.
It's on the YouTube video. I look like incredibly well lit. Yeah, on the Instagram, because it's just from a phone camera. I just look all dark.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. You look like almost like when you see a picture of someone turning to the dark side. Like one half of your face is sort of light, and the other half is kind of shadowed. So yeah. But yeah, whatever. It's all running now. We're just happy that it's running, and hopefully you guys can all hear us. So, Stevie, why don't you go ahead and just introduce who you are? I'm sure most of the people that listen already know, but for those people who don't, let's just hear who you are and what you do.
I'm Stevie, Age of Boredom. I'm a YouTuber, so you can find me on YouTube as Age of Boredom. If you just search that, you'll find me, or YouTube/Age of Boredom. I'm also Age of Boredom on Twitter, where you can also have a little chat with me, and I make Let's Play videos for the Nintendo Switch. Yeah,
which is how we kind of came to be friends and colleagues. Right now, you've just finished off your Blossom Tale.
Yeah.
Was that your Blossom Tale Let's Play, or was that the?
So I finished recording them.
Okay, they're not up yet.
Yeah, the last episode is sometime this week.
Okay.
I think there's either 2 or 3 left. I've got to edit them. Essentially, my weekend this weekend is editing Blossom Tales, so it's all done, so people can see the conclusion. So,
no, that's really awesome. You have some other cool indie games on there. Like I love Blossom Tales. I just started watching your series. It's like a perfect. I think your videos are like a perfect length. Like they're not too long, and I think they're always well edited to be like, okay, this happened in the video. Now I feel like I can watch it, put it down, and then the next day or the next couple of days when the next one comes out, I like how you kind of do on last week's episode or on the last episode in your intro. It's really cool. And you've done Blossom Tales, you've done Ghost Story, you did your what's it called, the Backlog Busters.
Oh yeah, so I just kind of you just end up buying games, right? Or like occasionally I do get sent games, not super often, but like occasionally like nice developers send me games, and you can't just play all the games all the time because you have to go to work and do live stuff. So it's kind of like a little mini series where I just kind of give people a taste of what a game's like for like 3 or 4 episodes, and then if people kind of react well to it, then and ask for it, then I'll continue making it into a full series. But if not, then we'll just leave it there and we'll go on to the next game, so people can just kind of see like an extended like preview, I guess.
Yeah, I really like it. I know exactly what you mean. I've got so many games that are sitting on my digital shelf, and I really want to play them, but I never have the time. And I think it's cool just to give people a little taste of a game, and then if it gets traction, go on with the series, or if not, then move on to something new. I think it's like a really cool way to show off some games as well.
Yeah, definitely. Good. And it also just gives a bit of variety as well to the channel, so that's
exactly.
It's quite nice.
Yeah, and you also do some streaming on there too. I had your Captain Toad stream VOD on in the background yesterday as I was preparing for for the podcast today. I think that's also like a cool, just chill out kind of nice game, nice colorful game, and yeah, it's just nice to have on in the background.
Oh, that's definitely my chill out game right now.
Yeah.
It's that game is like, I don't know why people aren't talking about it. I guess it's a re-release, but that game is a really, really fun game.
Yeah. It's one of those games where I was like, okay, if it gets announced for Switch, I'll 100% buy it. But then, because it's one of those games that I heard was great on the Wii U, and everyone was like, yeah, the Wii U has no good games, or not no good games, but not a lot of great games. And people were like, yeah, Captain Toad is great, but I think it was kind of underlooked on the Wii U as well. But then the Switch came out on Switch, and there was so many other things that came out that time, like because there's so many indie games, right? Like all the time on the Switch, so I just didn't have time to play it. So watching you is a good way to kind of get an experience, and then maybe when it's on sale or when I have a bit more free time, I'll pick it up myself.
Oh yeah, that's every game is kind of like, if someone says, oh, you're gonna buy X game, it's kind of like, depends what else comes out at the same time.
I know. It's a lot of, it's kind of like a first world problem, It's like, oh, just so many games. What am I gonna do? I have no time to play all these amazing games, and let's move on with the show. So the first little bit is the housekeeping. So this week I know I said it last week, but I didn't post it. My Skies of Fury review going up hopefully today or tomorrow on the channel. Plus, as we said before, we're recording this on Instagram. I really want to try and pick up traction on Instagram, because I think it's like a really cool platform. I didn't realize how good it was until like I really kind of researched it, and I love the ease of use of live streaming on Instagram, because my Mac isn't up to it on Twitch or YouTube. So right now that's where I want to do it. So if you're interested in watching us record the podcast live, I do suggest that you go to at Switch Indie Fix over on Instagram. And the big news is that tonight, as of this recording, which is the 22nd of September, I'll be playing some multiplayer games with the Switch Indie Fix community. I'm hoping to play some Fortnite, because there's a kind of like the end of season event on. There's a 400% XP boost, which is awesome. I was playing last night, played one game, came second, died to a guy with a rocket launcher right at the end, which really, really annoyed me, because to be honest, I was having I had a pretty bad game, I took loads of fall damage. I came up against some pretty weak opponents. There was one guy who was just out in the middle of a field trying to snipe me, so I just headshot him. He didn't even try and move in, so I kind of got lucky, and then at the end, lost out to a rocket launcher, which was really annoying. Still not had a victory royale yet, but hopefully tonight. And just from that one game, I got like 5 more levels on my battle pass, which is really cool. So if you want to top up your battle pass before the season ends, which the season ends on Thursday, then come and join us tonight. Plus, we'll be playing some Paladins, which I also played last night. Really great game. I know you've been playing it too, Stevie. What do you think?
Yeah, no, when it first came out, I got the early adopters,
the foundation pack or whatever it was called.
Oh yeah, founders pack. Yeah, when you pay
founders pack, that's it. Yeah.
You pay like £20, so then you just get everything unlocked.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. But there's I don't know, 30 characters or something like that. So I'm still playing new characters and being like, oh, I like this person. Mm-hmm. Or I don't like this person, or I go in and be like, oh, I really want to be like X person, and then someone else picks that character.
Yeah, I know, it's so frustrating. Do you have a main, or are you just trying to cycle characters right now?
I quite like Buck, the the big beefy monk looking guy. He's got a shotgun.
Okay. Okay.
I think he's a flank. I quite enjoy him. I do quite well with Janus, the healer guy. He's like a space pirate-y, long blonde hair. He looks like an elf.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think who else. There's a couple of characters I quite like. There's a Russian lady who's got an assault rifle, and she throws Molotov cocktails. She's pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know that one. I do know, because I was going to say I just played the free version. So I feel like I'm basically in the rotation of seeing the exact same characters over and over again, the same 5 or 4 free characters. So I do recognize her. The other two, I don't know who they are.
But no, it's pretty fun. I think once you find a character you like, it's quite good. The only problem is if you jump in with a character that you realize you don't like, you're in that whole game with that character, and then it just feels like a bit of a slog. You're like, oh, I've got like 15 minutes of being the turtle guy, and you're like, I don't,
with the grappling hook thing. It's I like the game because I like that it is like a 10-minute like burst, like Fortnite. If you're getting into the top 10, maybe the game's going to be about 30 minutes, and there's still like the aspect of okay, you might unlock some of your battle pass, or you might get some XP, but you still might not even win the game. So I really like Paladins, but it's short. You have like a role, so if you embrace your role, you know exactly what you need to do. And it's 50-50 if you're gonna win or lose or not. I'm maining the little goblin guy and the robot. I've forgotten the goblin's name, but the robot's called Bolt. He's like a frontline.
Is it Ruckus or something like that?
Ruckus, yeah. So he's like a tank character with the chain gun arms, and then he has a shield, a rocket launcher, and his super is like he brings out like 2 more chain guns or something. And I really like him because I love kind of flank, even though he's a frontline character. I love flanking, going behind and just shooting the enemy from behind, because they don't really expect you to be there, and he has so much HP that I feel like you can just kind of tank some damage, take out some enemies, and if you're playing Siege and trying to spawn the cart, like it gives your team a good chance to get on the spawn point, which I think is really cool. So yeah, I really like the game. It's very, maybe not so much for you because you've got the Founders Pack, but looking at all the different currencies and how there's a store, but the store's only for like skins, and then there's like a skin store, and then there's a voice pack store, then there's like a spray store. There's all these different currencies. There's then there's like the character screens, so that you have this character screens, and sometimes some of them are locked and sometimes some of them are unlocked. And I just think there's so much going on and so much like XP that it kind of puts me off a little bit.
Oh, it's very confusing. Like I literally have like no idea.
So much, yeah. And like some characters are quite cheap. Like I think the cheapest ones are 15,000 gold. And then some I guess the newer ones are like 60. So you're like, oh, I don't know, should I save my gold for this character, or should I just try and unlock a lot of the cheaper ones? So yeah, it's a very complex game. I also really love the card system. I don't know if you've got into that yet, about like kind of customizing your character and how you want to play. I was looking into that last night, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
it offers.
I quite like on Janus. I make him like I tweak his healing abilities so that when I'm healing other people, I'm healing myself.
Yeah.
I then have like the cooldown like not very high on that, so then I can like heal more regularly. So then I'm helping myself. Or also helping my team, and then at the end I should have like quite a lot of XP because I've fulfilled my role as a healer.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of spamming healing on like on people that are in like the main fight, where I'm on the edge, kind of just taking pot shots at people.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than having a support character who doesn't heal. They're just in there rushing forward, getting shot, and then you kind of like I said, I try and play as the tank characters, so you're trying to take some damage, and ideally you want a healer there to keep just topping you up, and when they're in the front ranks and just getting shot, like it's really annoying. But yeah, so as you can tell, me and Stevie are very not passionate, what's the word, we like Paladins a lot, so hopefully some of you guys do too, and you can come play with us tonight. Remember, even if you don't have the Switch Online, Nintendo Switch Online, you can still play Paladins and Fortnite for free. So if you don't have the online aspect of the Nintendo Switch, you can come and join us anyway, because we'll play those games for free. For those of you that do have Switch Online, we'll also be playing some Splatoon 2 and Mario Kart 8. If you have any other suggestions for games, especially indie multiplayer games, hit me up on social media at Switch IndieFix, or go over to the Switch IndieFix Discord server at switchindiefix.com/Discord. So we should probably now get on with the first segment of the show, because I don't know how long that first intro segment lasted. So the first section, as always, is the news. And this week in the news, we have only 6 items on the list, which is half a baker's dozen. As you can imagine, most of this week's news was taken up by the Nintendo Switch Online coming to the Switch. I want to talk a little bit about that later in the show. So let's go over some of the other updates. So number 1, Update 6.0 is here and has some new features you might not know about to the Nintendo Switch. So I took this list from Jacob Siegel over at bgr.com, as he does an excellent job of summarizing the new features, which I couldn't do, or, he did such a good job. I thought, what's the point in doing it as well? So he states the new Nintendo Switch Online features. There is obviously the save data cloud backup. You can use your internet connection to back up the save data for compatible games. Remember, not all games are compatible, which is kind of what's the word? A lot of people have kind of angry about that at the minute.
Everyone's angry about everything.
Yeah, this is what I'm interested to talk about with you later, to see what your opinions are of the Switch Online. So yes, obviously your backup, your cloud save data, if you want to do that. But games like Splatoon 2 and the new Pokemon game won't have this feature because they're scared about people reverting to old saves and basically cheating the system, which seems silly because Xbox and PSN have this feature. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. The new system functionalities include you can now upload up to 4 album screenshots at once on social network services. So instead of just uploading one screenshot at a time, you can do up to 4 now, which is pretty cool. There's 6 new Captain Toad icons for your user profile. There is the biggest feature, I think, is that you can play your digital software content on non-primary consoles by linking your Nintendo Switch account. So if you don't know what this means, it basically means, say, if me and Stevie are sat in a room with both our Switches, I could take my Switch, log in to his account, and then I would have access to all of his digital library. So if he buys, let's say, Hollow Knight on the eShop, and then I log in with his account on my Switch, I can download Hollow Knight onto my Switch. But if he logs in on his Switch and plays Hollow Knight, then the game will be suspended on mine. So it's a really cool way for people with, like 2 Switches in the household, or parents with kids who have Switches, to share games. And I think it's only really a good thing, right? What do you think, Stevie?
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of people who kind of like have 2 Switches in like their house, like maybe them and the partner, and then one of them wants to just play Dead Cells for like 15 minutes, and someone else wants to play Stardew Valley for 3 hours. But
yeah,
if it's both on the same Switch, at least that way you can kind of chuck over Dead Cells to the other one, or because I think the save data goes as well, right?
I believe so. Yeah, so you can. It's basically like just sharing a digital game.
No, I think it's actually sneakily probably the best kind of update for 6.0.
Yeah, definitely. I think no one was really expecting it, which makes it nice. It was kind of like a surprise and very forward thinking of Nintendo. It kind of goes along with their ideals of they don't want every household to have one Switch. They want every person in that household to own a Switch. And it's a great way to share your games. Means you're not having to buy the same game twice. Obviously, with multiplayer games, you would. So if you all want to play, if there's 4 of us, you want to play Splatoon 2, everyone has to want Splatoon 2. But if there's 2 of you, and like you say, maybe I have Stardew Valley on my Switch, and my girlfriend has the Switch and she wants to play it, but I'm playing something else on my Switch. She can just download her save onto her Switch and play, and everything's a-okay. So I think that's a really cool update. And then let me see what else. The next one is that display of Nintendo Switch news articles will be limited to match the restricted software parental control settings selections, which I don't think really affects any of us. It just means, I guess, that kids don't get access to news channels that are like plus 18 plus or something like that, even though Nintendo, I think, is pretty good about that anyway. There's nothing going to be too outrageous on the news channels for kids to see, but it is Nintendo, so yeah.
I guess it just stops them seeing like Resident Evil or something like that.
Yeah, like maybe some images from the game, I can't really imagine what they would see in a news update, because the news updates are usually short. They obviously sometimes they have images in, sometimes they don't. But I guess it's a safety net for kids, so they don't get access to anything they shouldn't do, which is again part of the Nintendo ideology. Let me see there's a change of the layout for the USB keyboard to the desired language. So I guess that means if you are in English, you don't have an English keyboard, you can use a German one if you want, or set it up however you like, which is cool.
There's also is that like a controller thing, or is it like
I think it means the on-screen keyboard.
Right. I was like, can I plug in a USB keyboard?
Yeah, that's what I think. It says USB, so maybe you can. Maybe there's like an attachment that goes onto the Pro controller, or there is an attachment for the Switch. I don't really know. It might have been something I should have researched before the show, but yeah.
I'm just going to try and plug in a keyboard into my Switch dock later just to see what happens.
Yeah. And then you can report back next time if it works.
I want to plug in a mouse so I can play Banner Saga.
Yeah,
with a mouse.
Yeah, we should plug in a keyboard and a mouse and just try and play like Paladins, and then we'd never lose, because I know we've already talked about Paladins last night, but some of the the hit scans and aim assist on that game are just unbelievable. There was like times where I was stood behind a wall and a guy was aiming to the left of the corner of the wall I was hiding behind, and it still hit me and killed me, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, great. Blame the game.
Yeah, it's definitely the game's fault. Yeah. So, and there are some general stability improvements. Compatibility improvements have been made for a controller licensed by the Nintendo. This is the Hori D-pad controller. Apparently, they've somehow changed it so that the battery life, that the new Joy-Con doesn't drain the battery life of your Switch as much as it was supposed to do. Because I believe that the Joy-Con, it has to always be connected to the Switch. You can't take it out and play, which is a nice kind of use. It's not draining your Switch all the time. So story number 2 is that Risk of Rain is out now on a Nintendo Switch. So in an unexpected announcement, Risk of Rain has been released on the Switch. On Thursday, the game's developers, Pooh, I think they're called, Games, asked a question on Twitter, when is Risk of Rain coming to Switch? And then answering their own question, they said, right now. Risk of Rain is an action platformer that was released way back in 2013 after a successful Kickstarter. 5 years later, the game is now on the indie machine that is the Nintendo Switch, and is a perfect fit for gamers that love a challenge. Risk of Rain costs only $9.99. Have you ever played Risk of Rain?
No. I went a bit overboard on action platformers that are a bit of a challenge just lately, and I need some games that are not a challenge.
Yeah, I'm the same. I was looking at it on the eShop last night, and I was thinking, $10, it's not a lot, or it's €9.90, €10 for me. But you're right. I've got Hollow Knight. I'm playing Hyper Light Drifter right now, which it's not a platformer, but it's like a very hard action game. So I was like, maybe Risk of Rain is trying to ride the wave of action platformers that are on the Switch. I think it's got like a lot of name recognition, so I imagine it's going to do quite well on the platform. But right now, it's not a game that I'm that interested in playing.
Yeah, I feel like in my mind, I know what my next kind of purchases are going to be, because we've got a pretty heavy release schedule over the next 3 months, right? And I'm like, okay, I want to play all these games. And it's like a game comes out, and then a week later, another game comes out, and then a week later. It's just like, how am I going to play all these games?
Yeah, I feel like from Thursday to Thursday, you have that's the time you have 1 week between these shop releases to play a game. And unfortunately for us that live in the real world, it's not enough time to play. Even a lot of these indie games that are shorter, it's not enough time. So, story number 3, and I think I put this one in here because it's might interest the both of us. It definitely interests me. Is that Limited Run shows off a Golf Stories Collector's Edition. So partnering with Fangamer and Infinite NES Live, Limited Run Games are going above and beyond to create an excellent physical edition of the fantastic indie game Golf Story. The Golf Stories Collector's Edition includes a 7.5-inch gold trophy, a physical copy of the game, a Tidy Park membership card, which is that's like a golf golf club from the game, a golf ball, and a fully functioning NES cartridge with the minigame Golf on it. The collector's edition will cost $79.99, and pre-orders go live on Friday the 28th of September. So did you see the image I sent you of the collector's edition?
Oh yeah, actually, I saw this on Twitter.
Okay,
must have been yesterday then, yeah. And I was just like, oh wow, like that's kind of cool that they're releasing Golf as a NES cartridge.
Yeah, it's definitely like a nice little nod, and I like that. I really like limited runs collector's editions. I think they're very, very unique to the games that I like. You know, most of the times now, especially with like Ubisoft and stuff like that, it's all everything's digital, and then if you want to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars, then you get like some plastic statue, which I guess you get here with the trophy. But yeah, I like that they've kind of thought outside the box a little bit. They've brought the golf minigame onto an NES cartridge, which I guess is a cool collector's thing to have. And yeah, and I don't think the price point is that expensive, considering you would pay $60 for a regular Switch game or a regular first party Switch game, and you're getting a lot of extra content with it. And I know limited run, they do like because I guess they're based in America. So for us over here in Europe, you have the added cost of postage and packaging. But I know they let you basically like reserve orders. So if you want to buy like 3 games over the next 6 months, you can reserve your Golf Story. Then maybe you buy the next indie game that is, I don't know, like a Hollow Knight Collector's Edition, and then you buy another one. Then when you have that, they'll just send you it all for like a fixed price. So it's kind of like a cheaper way to do it. So I really like them. There's a lot of these physical edition companies popping up right now. Like there's Limited Run, there's Super Rare Games, there's like Play Asia are starting to do their own physical editions of Switch games and Vita games. But I still associate Limited Run as like the prestige company that does the awesome.
I think they're the ones like who are kind of really pushing the boat and like making like the super premium. Like I think Super Rare Games do a really good job of like, you know, getting a lot of kind of, I don't want to say random games, but like, you know, like less obvious games out there. So like collectors like our friend Alex, Roots the Game, who's like a super like physical collector, and like he's got a YouTube channel, so you should check that out if you're into kind of
you definitely should
collecting, because he just buys like an insane amount of like physical like games. And it's cool that like people who do only want to buy physical or do it where they can like play all these games that people like us, we pretty much just buy like digital. So like they can get the same experience.
I'd love to have a physical library, but I just don't have the space, and I really like the ease of access of just downloading a game when it comes out. So yeah, they're not really for me, but for people that are into them, Limited Run and Super Rare Games, definitely the way to go. So story number 4 is Summer in Mara is announced for Switch. So from Liam Doolan over at NintendoLife.com. If you've ever wanted to look after your own island, Summer in Mara could be the game for you. Arriving on the Switch in 2019, developer Chibig Studio describes the game as a single-player summer adventure. You'll take care of your own island, farm the land, and craft new tools for survival purposes. You can then set out on the high seas in your very own boat and travel to new islands, meet new characters, and find hidden treasures. Here are some finer details. So, Summer of Mara is an action adventure and farming game with an archipelago full of islands and secrets to explore. Day and night cycles with climate events, which sounds pretty cool. More than over 100 quests to make the world a better place. Over 20 characters to meet and trade with and befriend them. Improve your boat, make it bigger, better, and faster. More than 130 inventory items to make, use, and trade. And then unlock and acquire new abilities and skills for Koa, helping her to craft, trade, and explore in an easy R. So I put Summer of Mara in the news because it looks like a really beautiful, peaceful, and relaxing game that fans of Stardew Valley would probably like to play. I also put it on because I'd like some people to try, like, check it out, the teaser trailer, because it looks like one of those games that's either going to be amazing or is either going to be like meh. Like, you know, like, okay, it's aspiring to be this amazing farming simulator adventure game, but it just comes out and lacks features. Yeah, it's like, have you heard of what's it called, Little Dragons Cafe?
Oh yeah, they've been talking about it on NVC, I think, like a
Yeah.
couple of weeks back.
So I think it was either developed or produced by the creator of Harvest Moon.
Oh
So
yeah.
it has like a really nice art style. It has like a nice story where you basically are running a cafe, but there's like dragons in it for some reason, and your dragon helps you go out to explore the world and can find items for you. And like, it looks to me, it sounds like a really awesome game. But then the way I think they've brought it out, and it's like fifth. I think in the EU it's €50.
Ooh.
And yeah, and from reviews I've read, and I'm thinking that's not. It doesn't look like a game that should be €50. It looks like a game that is an indie game and is an homage to Harvest games like Harvest Moon. And yeah, the price point put me off, and I really hope that Summer of Mara comes out maybe a bit cheaper. Maybe obviously the trailer I saw was pre-alpha, so it still needs a lot of polish and work. But yeah, it's just one to keep on your radar, and
it sounds,
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Without seeing the trailer, it kind of sounds a little bit like was it Yonder Cloudcatcher?
Yeah, Yonder's another one. Yeah, and I know you said you were thinking about picking it up. Have you? What do you think of the game?
I had a quick look at it again yesterday. Like, I just watched like 15 minutes of someone's Let's Play just to kind of have more of like an extended idea of what it'd be like. And I think maybe after Toad, that might be my next kind of like chill out game. It just looks like pretty relaxing, like no stress.
Yeah.
Like there's no combat in that game from what I can tell, and it's just like, and it just looks really nice. It just looks like kind of Breath of the Wild minus enemies, but in like in a nice way, like rather than a kind of like dull way. So
yeah, that's kind of. I don't know that much about the game, but I remember when Breath of the Wild was coming out, there was a lot of talk about Yonder on the PS4, and it'd been like the Breath of the Wild of the PlayStation, and I don't know, it kind of like didn't seem to pick up any traction. And then when it was coming to Steam, Switch as well, like I heard a lot about it before the release, and then after the release, I didn't really see that many people playing it. Like maybe it's just like me and my circles, and again, I think the game, it was like €30 when it came out, or like $27.99 or something, and for me, I was like, that's a little bit more than I'd want to pay for it. So yeah, so if you pick it up, I'd be excited to hear what you think.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh. Well, if I pick it up, I think it will definitely kind of make its way onto the channel. So
yeah, cool. So story number 5 is maybe something you missed from last week's Direct or the week before's Direct, is that Downwell is coming to the Nintendo Switch. So shown off in the Japanese Direct, Japanese indie darling Downwell is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Downwell, as Ryan Craddock from Nintendo Life states, is a roguelike platforming shooter mashup with a vertically scrolling display for good measure. Playing as a curious man, you must make your... Oh, there's a typo there. That's from Nintendo Life, not from me. It says you must make your way down it says make your wall down a seemingly never-ending well, but it should be make your way. Make your way down a seemingly never-ending well, defeating enemies and collecting treasure along the way. As you can see, publishers Devolver Digital have confirmed that it's going to be a tape mode is going to be introduced to the game, which basically means you can take your Switch from horizontal and turn it and play it vertically, because obviously Downwell, you're basically dropping down from the top and making your way down. I thought this is a cool announcement. It kind of reminds me of the Undertale announcement, where it was announced on a Japanese indie update or an indie update, and kind of fell through the cracks. And I think maybe Downwell did as well. Have you played Downwell? Do you know what it is, or did you hear about it being released?
This is the first I've heard about it. So this is new. This is news to me.
Yeah, so it's like Downwell came out a few years ago, I guess. Yeah, years now. I think on the originally Steam, and then it was released on PlayStation and PS Vita. And I think like people that played the Vita really kind of it found its place there. And it's basically like a game as you play as a guy, and there's like a well shaft that you fall down, and there are enemies and projectiles that you have to dodge as you're falling. And you basically have these boots that can help you slow you down as you fall. Because I think if you fall too fast, you die, and if you obviously hit an enemy, that you lose health and can die as well. And the idea of the game is I guess it's kind of like a rhythm game where you have to fall, and like if you time your hits perfectly, you like bounce off enemies, and it's almost like getting in the rhythm, getting a combo going, and the further and further you go, you unlock items that help you go along, and it's also like a roguelike. So if you die, then it's permadeath, you start again, and you see how far you can go. And I think it has like those aspects of like, you know, there's like the first stage, and then there's like another stage that might be, I don't know, like a hell stage or a water stage, and the further down you go, I think it has a lot of secrets. And it's really famous because it's a Japanese indie game, which I think you don't hear that much about. Like obviously there's a lot of Japanese games, but they always tend to be like AAA or like at least AA. So it was
dating.
really
they like always tend to be like dating sims as
well.
Yeah,
it's like, and this and I think this is seen as like one of the first like really popular Japanese indie games. So it explains why it was in the Japanese. So yeah, I just thought I'd put that in there for people. It looks like it probably will be getting a Western release, but there's no date yet. So it's just for anyone that might have missed it. And the final story this week, and it's a little bit different to what we usually talk about, but I thought it was interesting, is that Villager Supplies launches a Kickstarter for the free up bag, which is the ultimate bag for the Nintendo Switch. So do you ever have the conundrum where you want to take your Switch with you somewhere, but don't really know how to carry it? A rucksack is too big and your pocket is too small. So how do you carry it around with you? Village Supplies tries to resolve that problem with their new free up bag. The bag has room for your Switch, 10 game cartridges, and your Switch, as well as your Switch accessories like headphones, a battery pack, and wires. The bag also has 3 different carry options. There's like a portrait mode, a landscape, and strapless. So yeah, did you see this circling on Twitter or any of the news websites?
No.
So it's basically, I really like the idea because I do honestly have that problem sometimes where I'm like, okay, you know, my girlfriend's at home and I think she's watching Instagram right now, so I should watch what she says, what I say. Where yeah, I might want to go to get out the house, and I'm like, okay, I'll go to Starbucks and I'll go and take my Switch and play my Switch. But I'm like, okay, I have my Switch case, a protection case. But I'm like, okay, should I take like my huge rucksack just for the Switch, or should I just carry it? And I'm like, I don't want to carry it because, you know, I don't want to walk around with my Switch out. And like, I really like the idea that they have. So it's basically like if you just have like the shape of your Switch as a bag, and then there's like a lot of padding to it and pockets, and then there's like these straps that you can just like clip on or clip off. So you can put it like over your shoulder, kind of like those like man bags that people wear, you know, so you like you can have it here or you can have it on your back, so it's almost a gun holster. So it's just easy to carry it around, and like if you wanted to, you could put it on and put a coat over it, and then like it's behind you, and yeah, you don't really have to worry about it. Or you can wear it like just like a satchel, so it can kind of sit like here horizontally, or they have a strapless mode, which if you should go and look at the Kickstarter because it looks kind of ridiculous. There's like this woman in like this really nice dress, and then she's carrying the bag like they would like a strapless handbag, but it's like bright blue and kind of has like a puffer jacket aspect to it. Like it's all like these kind of like ridges, and like the photo just looks ridiculous. And I kind of get the idea that they have like it's supposed to be like a stylish accessory that you can take with you, even if you go into like I don't know, like a wedding and you want to take your Switch with you for whatever reason. But it kind of looks ridiculous. So if you're interested, it's there for you. Like I guess it's the first one that's really kind of got any steam behind it that I've seen on Kickstarter. They say, you know, it's made out of all these materials, protective, waterproof. There's all these lots of storage spaces, and if you back them at certain levels, you get like a matching wallet and little tags that you can put on the bag. So I thought it was an interesting story. I think they have right now 20 days left, and they're like 10% to their goal. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna see if people back it, and if people like it, it'd be interesting to see. So yeah, I just thought that was a kind of quirky story to put into the news.
I just got like a £15 one off Amazon.
Yeah, mine's the black bumpy one from Switch. I think it was the same 15. But yeah, it has no handle, so if you carried it, I'd have to carry it in my hand all the time.
Mine's got like a little, like a hand handle, not like a long
really?
one, just like a little one.
Yeah,
but
so it's like kind of like a mini briefcase.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a Switch size briefcase.
Okay.
Which
well, maybe I'll check that one out.
You do kind of look slightly odd, like walking down the street with. I just usually throw it in a tote bag or like in a backpack, and then
yeah, it's the same with me. It's like it usually goes in my backpack. But yeah, I guess it is a problem people have, and they're trying to make a solution right now. I don't know if it's the right solution, but it is a solution. So if you have this very specific problem, then there's a solution for you. So as always, section 2 is the conversation of the podcast. This conversation portion of the podcast. The whole point of the podcast is to have a conversation, or at least when I have a guest on. When it's just me, I'm just rambling into a microphone. But when Age of Boredom's here or any other guests, then yeah, obviously it's a conversation. So usually we talk about what games we've played. I guess we've already kind of done that with our Paladins talk, and a little bit about Fortnite. Was there anything you wanted to talk about? Like what games have you been playing this week?
This week I've been playing a lot of Banner Saga 2 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I really enjoyed Banner Saga 1, which I played on the Switch, and I'm loving like Banner Saga 2. They've kind of the Banner Saga 1 has a great story, but the kind of combat sections get slightly like a bit samey, just because there's not that many enemy types.
Okay, yeah.
But in the second one, they kind of like, I won't spoil it, but there's more like variation in kind of like enemy factions, I guess would be kind of like a way to describe it. So it just kind of breaks up a little bit more, and yeah, no, it's super fun. If you like kind of tactical like games or tactical RPGs, and you haven't played it, buy one, and then go like carry your save from 1 to 2, and then
that's what I was going to ask about. Yeah, because I saw on Thursday they released the trilogy on the Switch, so there's like a bundle that you can get all 3 on. So yeah, if you've not jumped in at all, then now it's a perfect time to get all 3 games.
I think if you buy the first one digitally, then I got a discount on the sequel, and then I think if you then buy, so if you don't want to just like buy all 3, you're like, oh, I might not like it, then you're not penalized too much for buying them all separately. And also, you know, if you kind of don't have like whatever the money is for all 3, you can at least like drip feed it in. So if you're on a like a tight gaming budget, then it works out quite well.
Yeah, I think they've done a really good job of like giving people options to buy the game. It's not just like, oh, here's 1, 2, and 3 for like, I don't know, hypothetically like €15 each, and it's like fixed. I like that they put a bundle. I bought them the first 2 games on the PS4 when the second one came out like 2 years ago, I guess it was. Got a couple of hours into the first one, but it just wasn't for me. Like, I really love the art style, and that's basically why I bought the game. And the story was really interesting, but I didn't like the grid-based combat. I just couldn't get into it. But I can appreciate why people do. Like, I know it's a good game. I know people like it, but it just wasn't one for me.
Yeah, as a teenager, I was a really big fan of XCOM, so I guess maybe that's
then,
kind of why I quite like, you know, action points or like that kind of stuff. If I want to play a slower game where, or like I'm on a train or something like that, or a bus, then I can play it. I don't have to worry about kind of, you know, like reaction times or anything like that. I can just have a little think about it, and then kind of, it's just like a more thought out process. But yeah, it's super enjoyable.
That's it. They're almost like, you know, like every battle is almost like a puzzle.
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes I feel like there is a specific way you should kind of like XCOM, like you said, you should approach the battle like this, and if you can pull it off, and you finish the battle and win. But for me, I was like, okay, I've got like this big tank guy. I'm just gonna go and hit everyone with him, and then he dies, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, now what should I do? Like, I wasn't thinking too much about it. Like, if I ever get it on the Switch, like, I'd obviously take a different approach. But yeah. Are you gonna get 3 when you finish 2?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like
Yeah.
what?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm loving 2 as much as I loved 1. So
Okay, that's good.
definitely.
Good. Anything else you've been playing?
I started Hollow Knight
Yeah.
maybe just over a week ago as well.
Yeah.
A
What
lot
do you think?
a lot of people say that game you need to play like quite a few hours before it starts to connect with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I played enough hours yet. Like I can like it's quite relaxing, but also
Yeah.
very stressful at the same time.
Yeah, it's because I think I got it when it was released on the Switch, and I probably only played about 5 hours of it, and it's like one of those games where I feel like you have to like dedicate not all of your time, but all of your like concentration to it. So I think it's like one of those games you should only really play that game and nothing else, because I think it's like there's like a way that you're supposed to play it, and then there's so many secrets and bosses that you have to beat and find that it just takes a lot of time just exploring, and like it's kind of like, right, because I'm playing Hyper Light Drifter. It's the same thing as like you're exploring, like you go around and I'm like hitting every wall to see if there's a secret, and I'm looking for every single like of those little mountains with the like the scarab coins in and stuff like that. And yeah, and when it came out, I was playing it like half an hour here, 10 minutes there. And yeah, it just got to the point where I think I finished the first main section and beat like the boss, and then was getting into like the second part, but just haven't really gone back to it since then. So it's like a game I think maybe, if I had like a week off from work and nothing to do, I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to sit down and play Hollow Knight all week and try and beat it.
Yeah, I think because like the exploration's like a big part of it, and then I'm assuming you unlock different ways to kind of like traverse the landscape.
It's like it's a Metroidvania. So yeah, when you beat bosses, eventually you learn new moves.
Yeah, so like you need to be able to remember like, oh, there's a ledge there that I couldn't quite get to, so like I know I need to come back and
yeah, and there's no, it's like a very traditional Metro. There's no like fast travel in it really. Like they have the bug.
Oh
tube,
yeah, I just unlocked him.
Yeah, which is cool. Like that's good to get you back to the village at the top of the well or whatever it is that you jump into. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like I feel like there's been times where I've like you get like a dash move, and I'm like, okay, I know there was jumps that I needed this dash move to get, but I can't remember where they were, and you're kind of walking in circles and going back on yourself, and it's a lot of backtracking. But like I can see why people love it, like people who love Metroidvanias, because I think it is a very traditional and it looks great. Like the combat's great. But yeah, it's not a game I could.
It's like the thinking man's like kind of 2D platformer, right? Or like Metroidvania, whereas like I'm also playing Dead Cells, which is very kind of like a lot more fast paced.
Yeah, a lot more like twitchy and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's got like much more like instant gratification. Whereas Hollow Knight, you kind of have to work for it. And then when you like achieve something, you're like, oh, like, I put in the time and I achieved it, and that's like really fulfilling.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I feel like it's almost like a checkbox thing where you're like, okay, and I found a bench in this area, I found the stag beetle station, I beat the boss, I found like this many trinkets, and you're like, okay, now I like, at least for me, and then I'm like, okay, now I can move on to the next section. But yeah, Dead Cells, it's like, one run might last you 5 minutes, the next one might last you 45 minutes, and sometimes they're as gratifying as each other. If you unlock a lot of cells in the 5 minutes one, it's fine. Like you can be like, okay, I can put that into improving my character, getting new weapons, and then at least you having these 45 minutes runs. But yeah, and like I said, I've been playing Hyper Light Drifter. It's kind of slowly been growing on me. When I first started it, I was, what does this game think it is? Because it's such like an art piece where I think like I believe like all video games But I think this game is like takes it to the next level where it has this really beautiful kind of like 80s Blade Runner aesthetic where it's like a lot of neon colors and of techno, not techno music, but like this like industrial sounding music and sound effects, which are really cool. And there's no text in the game, so everything's told to you through images. And at first I was like, what is this? It's so obscure. I don't really get what I'm supposed to do. And it's kind of like has like a Zelda thing where you basically go into dungeons and you're looking for like little shards that fill out like a star or a diamond. And then when you get the diamond, it unlocks something in your hometown. And I think you basically have to do that 4 times and then maybe unlock a new area that has like a final boss or something. Or I don't know. But yeah, at first I was like, yeah, I'm just running around trying to kill enemies. The enemies are hard to kill, but you slowly get better. You get better at fighting them, and you find like these like upgrades where if you find 4 of them, you get like almost like an upgrade. I don't know. I call it like a crate. It looks kind of like a crate, and then when you get 3 of them, you can go buy an upgrade. So you slowly get improving, but everything is just so well hidden that, like I said about Hollow Knight, like most of my time is just running into walls, running up against walls, trees, hitting there's like what's the word? There's like you have like a droid that follows you or a little drone and he like pings and I'm just pinging everything to see if anything interacts because it gives you like dots on the map where you should go, but then you go there and you're like, well, there's nothing here. So you really have to like explore and look and search every little crack, kind of like with Legend of Zelda, the old school ones. And when I realized, okay, that's how we play the game, then I started enjoying it a lot. Oh yeah, like here's like the obvious shard I need to get.
Yeah.
But then you're like, well, if I run down and like I can see like this corner of a ledge off the side of the screen, maybe if I jump to there, then it opens up like an entirely new area, and you're like, okay, and then you go through that area and you find a second shard. And then you realize, oh, well, actually, you're not just looking for 4, you're looking for 8 shards, like if you want to find all the secret ones. So it's a very kind of like the combat's very fast paced, but I feel like the game is very like slow and you just take your time and just look around and enjoy it and explore. Like, and I'm really like it. Yeah, methodical. Yeah, exactly. Very methodical. And I'm really, really loving the game right now. Like it's, I usually play it before I go to bed because I kind of feel like it's chill. It's kind of, just like a game I can be like, okay, I can go into this one dungeon, find like an upgrade, and then I can turn it off and go back to it tomorrow. So yeah, it's one I'd suggest for the Switch.
The running up against walls makes me think of Doom back in the day when you used to just kind of like, or like Duke Nukem when you used to run past all the walls, just like pressing like space bar or whatever, like like open was, and you'd just be like going, like, because that's the noise everyone makes when they open doors, like in the night was.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I think it's like a curse because usually like I play games like that anyway, like, and I think it started with like the Uncharted games, like looking for all the treasures.
Oh
like,
yeah, I love
like a little spark in the corner, and it just makes me literally like the level starts and you're facing this way, and the first thing I do is turn around and walk the other way because I'm like, there's definitely going to be something hidden there. So yeah, so this is kind of like the emphasis of that, of like literally every ledge I'm like looking off and trying to like scroll the screen a little bit to see if there's something there. Every tree I'm like walking into, and some of them they let you walk in a little bit, but then it's like a dead end. You're like, they've just trolled me here, thinking that this is a different way. But yeah, it's a really good game.
I've been doing that a lot on Rise of the Tomb Raider, so that's the other game I've been playing.
Exactly.
A lot of.
Yeah, you said
but that's on my PC, not a Switch.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah,
but okay. I've fully become in love with that game, and it's the same where you kind of get really into just like, I need to find every secret in this area.
Yeah,
and like I think I'm about 10 hours into it, but I've not progressed like super far because I've just been like, right, I'm gonna find everything in this area and do every mission that these people are giving me, and kind of just like find all these coins that are hidden underground. And
I played the first one on PC, and that was my favorite part of the game, was going into the tombs and like doing the puzzles and unlocking like an upgrade or like a new weapon or whatever it was back then. Like I don't really remember, and like I'm a history buff, so I love reading about the artifacts and all the kind of backstory behind them and the historical significance and stuff like that. So that's why I love like Tomb Raider and Uncharted, and like, but I haven't played Rise of the Tomb Raider or Shadow yet, so maybe one day.
Rise is definitely recommended.
Yeah,
I haven't played Shadow yet, obviously, but Rise is.
I just feel like Square Enix, they almost send the Tomb Raider franchise out to die, because I think Rise came out the same day as Fallout 4 came out in 2000 and was it Fallout 4 or there was some other game that Rise came out on Xbox as an exclusive, and the same day as Fallout 4 came out. So like it basically had like no chance, because the Xbox is behind the PS4, so there's less consoles, and it's the day Fallout 4 came out, so everyone was playing Fallout 4. And then Shadow, that one just came out, and it's like just after Spider-Man. So everyone's talking about Spider-Man, and I feel like with Shadow, I've not really heard that much about it. Like all I've heard is that it's a really great game, but that's it. I don't know why it's great, but people tell, it's a really good game. It's really fun. The tombs are really great, but yeah.
I think Tomb Raiders are just like quite big on like PC. Like the community is kind of more PC based. Like whenever I watch kind of like PC hardware videos on YouTube, and they're doing like benchmarking on like new graphics cards and that kind of thing, it's always Rise of the Tomb Raider. Or I imagine now they'll be doing Shadows, but they always used Rise of the Tomb Raider. So like that's how like kind of Tomb Raider kind of got back into my head to be like, maybe I should play these games, because I was just seeing that all the time.
Yeah,
and, like I think it's quite a popular kind of like PC game.
I think so too. Like that's actually how I got Tomb Raider on my PC. It was like a free download when I bought my old gaming PC, and I think it's like definitely one of those games that it shows off graphics. So like graphic cards companies use it to show off how good their games look. But yeah, I'm just looking at the Instagram feed. Did yours say we only have like a minute before it goes off?
No.
Oh, okay, so we might have to restart. We might have to restart that in a minute. So yeah, we just took a quick break there. Some of us needed to go to the toilet, and some of us set the Instagram stream. So what I wanted to talk about in the conversation portion, and even though we've talked about games quite a lot, was our impressions of the new Nintendo Switch Online. So Stevie, did you get it on Thursday? Did you sign up for your 3 weeks trial? What did you do?
I have yet to sign up.
Oh, no way. Okay.
I've been meaning to. It's just I've been playing Banner Saga, so I've not been playing online.
So you don't need, okay. Nah, I was really excited about the NES games, because growing up as a kid, I was born in 91, so by the time I was playing video games, I was a PlayStation kid. So I don't really have any history with Nintendo until the GameCube. And the NES is like everyone's saying, it's kind of like the grandfather of home consoles. It's what made video games popular. It kind of saved the video game industry. And there's all these amazing games, the Mario, Zelda, the Final Fantasy. So I was really, really excited to get the Nintendo Entertainment System on the Switch, because I actually wanted the classic NES Classic when it came out a couple of years ago, but it was kind of like gold dust and no one could get hold of it. So I was excited, and I was like, 20 games, it's going to be awesome to kind of jump into these old games. And so I joined up on Thursday, got my week's free trial, and then paid for a yearly subscription. So it's €19.99. And so my first kind of impressions were that it was very quick and easy to set up. Like I say, signed up, downloaded the NES app for the games, and basically as soon as I loaded up the app, it told me I needed to switch online. I loaded up the eShop. It sent me to the eShop. I loaded it up. It told me about the free trial. And then what is a little bit confusing is when I first did it, it said, here's your free trial. Your credit cards will be charged the monthly fee of $3.99. And I was like, okay, I don't want the monthly fee. So I went back, and if you scroll down, when it gives you the options, you want the monthly free, the free monthly, or the yearly. And then you click yearly, next, and then you sign up, and there you go. The app downloaded really quickly, the Nintendo Entertainment System app. The presentation of the app looks amazing. Like, I don't know if you've seen any screenshots, but the the kind of all the different box arts lined up together looks really awesome. Like I think they've done a really good job of making it look appealing, making you want to check out these games. And yeah, the kind of ease of use is very simple. It's like you go into the games, you kind of press, I think, the minus button, and it brings up the menu, and then you can like save, load, or whatever. So yeah, first instance, I was really happy. However, looking into the games, I think the first 20 games are kind of underwhelming. I'm really enjoying playing the Super Mario Bros. I checked out Mario 3 and Zelda because I've not played them before, like I said. But a lot of the other titles, I'm kind of just like meh. You know, there's like baseball, tennis. There's like a wrestling one. There's Exciter Bike, which I really like because I do remember playing that as a kid. So yeah, there's a lot of games that I'm not really that interested in. There's Goblins. What's it called? Goblins and
Ghosts.
Yeah, I think that's Goblins and Ghosts, which I've heard is really good, and like I'm excited to try that out. But when I look at the NES Classic and the 20 games on there, I'm kind of like, why didn't they release with those games? Which I did have a discussion about with some people in Discord, and they're saying, yeah, well, the NES Classic is locked to those 20 games. You can't. There's no chance to update it, so they had to put all their like best games on there, and but some of them were like third party games, so like Final Fantasies was Squaresoft and some of the other games on there. So I'm excited to see what's added to it in the future. I think they're either switching free games every month or they're adding free games every month. And October's doesn't look that exciting either. There's like a golf game, a dodgeball game, and then there's like one other game. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, hopefully in the future they add some bigger titles to it. What do you think? Are you nostalgic at all for the NES, or was that? I guess that was probably before your time too.
I just missed out on the NES. I guess also like growing up in the UK, I think Sega was kind of more of a thing than Nintendo here, right? Like
yeah, definitely.
So I think like the the Master System was kind of in more houses, it seemed. Like than the NES, and then the Mega Drive was like more dominant here than this. Well, it came out before the Super Nintendo, and then it kind of seemed like it was quite established at that point. So I mean, know, I did know people with SNESes like back in the day, but it wasn't like as it's kind of in America. Nintendo was the thing, right? And Sega was definitely like the kind of upstart. So I kind of. I'm not really that nostalgic for like NES games at all. I mean, I will probably boot up Super Mario 3 just because, not Super Mario Bros 3, just because it's Mario Bros 3. And I will check out Excite Bikes. I've never actually played that, but I remember back in the day, like on Spectrums and like Atari STs and stuff like that, there was always like Excite Bike kind of clones. So it would be nice to see like the original Excite Bike. And a random one for a British guy to want to play, but Temco Bowl as well, which is like one of the first American football games. Just to kind of see what that's like. I imagine it's probably not going to be super enjoyable now, but just I
think this is the problem. Is like people tell you how good these games are, and there's like maybe not for us, but there are like nostalgic aspects to it. But then you go back and play them, and I think like apart from maybe Mario, like most of the games don't hold up to like modern day standards. And obviously, some of them were made 30 years ago. But yeah, it kind of like takes the wind out of your sails a little bit. Like when I was playing Zelda, and I know The Legend of Zelda is nothing like Breath of the Wild. Like I kind of see it more. It's kind of more like like what Binding of Isaac is now, where it's like each screen is kind of like it has different enemies, and you have like your sword and different weapons. And I was really excited to get into it, and then I was just playing it, and I was like, yeah, I can appreciate the game, but I'm like, I don't want to spend 10 hours really trying to play through this game. And like I imagine if you're good at it and you know all the secrets, then yeah, fair enough. But it's kind of like that thing of it's the classic game, and it has a lot of history, and it did a lot for the video game industry. But sometimes I kind of feel like, well, yeah, but it is history. Like it's not what people need right now. And I think sometimes people are held up on nostalgia a little bit too much. Like with the release of this PlayStation Classic. Like I said, I was a PlayStation kid, but especially with 3D games, like the polygons at the time were just so sharp and ugly that I think people are going to get shocked when they play these old games, like because they aren't what you remember them to be. And yeah, I think it's nice that we have an opportunity with the Nintendo Entertainment System to go back and play some of these classic games like Zelda, like Mario. Like I kept getting my ass kicked in Mario, but it's because I know I just need to learn the levels. I need to learn the game. And you can see that, yeah, that definitely still holds up to their standards. But some of the other ones, I'm just like, oh God, like I'm not playing these, and I'm not giving them free credit just because they're old games. And like for some people, that might be controversial, but I think it's.
I mean, I'm really glad that it's there, and like, and for the people that are nostalgic for this stuff, then this is awesome. And like, I don't want to be like, I don't want to take away from that, because if you're excited by this, then you're excited, and that's good, and I really like that. But I think if they were releasing N64 games, then I would be more nostalgic for that. Like if they've released Snowboard Kids, like I'd be like, oh my god, I really loved playing that game back in the day. Like, yeah, or like Diddy Kong Racing, I'd be super into it. Like I don't necessarily need Mario Kart 64 because we've essentially got
a better version of it now. Yeah, but the best version of it.
But the like something else, like I was listening to the Kane and Rince podcast about GoldenEye, which is like quite an old episode now, but they were talking about how GoldenEye, if you were there at the time, then that game is like so good in your memory. Yeah. But then if you play it now, because you've got like almost like 20 years worth of first person shooters kind of like on top of that, then like it just doesn't live up to it. So
yeah, of course.
You can play it with nostalgia and you'll probably still have a really good time. But if if you've never played GoldenEye, you're going to play it now and just be like, I don't get it. Like, this is just a really bad FPS. But
like this. That's it. I think for some people, playing the games exactly how they were is like a huge appeal. Like even when I'm playing Super Mario Bros. 3 on the Switch, like the emulator, there's kind of like a clipping error. So where every time you scroll to the right, it like does this on the side of the screen, and you're thinking, does like either it's a bad emulator or it's some like original feature that they kept in, and you kind of think like, why? Like, I don't understand it. Like for me, I would love for them to make a new 2D Mario game and have the same art style as the original Super Mario Bros. But just make it modern. And like, kind of what they did with the 2D levels in Mario Odyssey. Like, I'd love for them to just do that and have its own game. So, instead of Super Mario Bros. Switch, it's like a 2D version or a pixelated version. Like, I think that would be really awesome. And yeah, for me, like I'd get really excited if GameCube games ever get released on this kind of subscription platform, because I feel like those games are modern enough where a lot of them still hold up. So like Wind Waker and Metroid Prime and stuff like that, like where I would really be interested to play those ones, because they're still what I guess we would class as modern games and hold up to a lot of modern standards. So it's a service. You're paying for a service. You're not just getting the NES games, you're getting the cloud backup, the data backup, which I think is great because, Switches, they get lost, they get broken. I've heard horror stories. I have the problem with the left Joy-Con where the
it sticks.
It sticks, yeah. So there was a thing of like, oh well, if you send it into Nintendo, they'll update it for you and fix it for you. But then there's like the horror stories where people have sent it into Nintendo and then all the saved data has been corrupted or been deleted, and you're thinking, God, I don't want to do that. But now there's kind of like a buffer there to be like, if anything bad happens, it is back updated. And like, it's annoying, but for some games, it's not like I don't play Splatoon 2 that much anymore. Well, I don't play it at all anymore. It's only when we have these game nights. But I spent like 40 hours on it. and if all my progress gets lost,
Yeah.
then that's so annoying. Even though it's like a multiplayer game and there's not that much really to progress in it, it's only like unlocking weapons. But I think, for people that have put hundreds of hours into it to get like perfect gears that have all the same perks and like upgrades, then it must be so annoying. And Nintendo don't really seem to give like a solid reason, like a good reason why they can't do it with Splatoon 2. But yeah, like I said, I was listening to your your Switch Island podcast you did, and you seem quite positive about the idea of paying for online and what they're offering with the Nintendo Switch Online. Like after the first couple of days of it being live, do you still go along? Do you still think it's worth the $20?
Oh yeah, I mean, essentially, I've only not done it because I've been a bit lazy, and like I think it's worth it just to have like cloud saves. Like I mean, cause I take my Switch to work sometimes, so if I left it on a bus or on a train or something like that, then I'd be I'd be angry anyway, even with cloud saves. But at least it's kind of like, well, I haven't wasted like hundreds of hours in all these different games. I can just, at least that bit's not gone. I've wasted money, but not time.
Yeah.
So, and also, I guess it's a case of if the servers are running as they should do, then like I don't see it as an issue. Like, if I was like a 12-year-old kid and I had like a very set budget for gaming, then I could understand why you'd be like, okay, having to pay for this thing when it was free. But I mean, like servers cost money, electricity costs money, like bandwidth costs money. Like I get it. So
definitely, me too. Like I think it just falls down onto Nintendo. Like they've kind of dug their own grave with it, for those people that don't want to pay. Because I think originally when the Switch came out, there was supposed to be this online structure there, and they had to delay it because either it wasn't ready or they didn't really know what they wanted to do with it. So it's really their fault for giving people something free when really maybe arguably they shouldn't have done anyway, and then taking it away, which is annoying. But yeah, for me, like I say, it's cheap enough that what we're paying, that it's worth what you're paying for. Like, even though I don't really like the NES games, like all of them, it would have been more annoying if I gone on my virtual console on my DS, my 3DS, and bought like Mario, Super Mario Bros, Zelda, Excite-a-Bike, and then some of these other games, and then they're like $5 each. And then turns out, I don't like Zelda, I don't like this game, I don't like this game, and you kind of wasted money. So it is like a nice way to like dip in and out of games and be like, okay, even if I only play one for 5 minutes, at least like I'm not paying specifically for those 5 minutes. Like it's part of the price of having the whole structure. But it just makes me worry that there's already been like bad reports of like Splatoon, like the lag been horrible, and lag even in the NES online games been like unplayable. And then there was like reports that in China, like it's basically unplayable if you use Google or something, because they don't have access to Google in China, so you can't use the Nintendo Online aspect there. So now they can't play online games at all, and like it's just so frustrating that a company like Nintendo can have such a hit with like Nintendo and all their first party right now, and all their messaging behind the console and all the sales, but then they just have one aspect of the company that they just don't seem to either get right or really know what to do, or they just don't want to be like Xbox and PlayStation. And yeah, as a fan and a consumer, like I just can't understand like how in 2018 they can still get some of these things this wrong.
Nintendo will do what Nintendo does like all the time.
Yeah,
like they definitely will cut their nose off to spite their face. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
That's really what
kind
it's
of
like.
Ridiculous. But I mean, I've just kind of accepted it now. Like, Nintendo's gonna do Nintendo stuff. Like, you can't just, or with like all video game like companies like Sony being like, no, we're not sharing, kind of, you can't play cross-platform,
crossplay, yeah,
and stuff like that. It's just kind of, if you think something's logical, then there's a 9 out of 10 chance that one of the big companies won't do that, just because they'll be like, everyone else is doing that. Why should I do that?
Yeah. So why should we? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's just I think the Nintendo of the past was always kind of like that, like making these random decisions because of like the Wii U because they wanted to they saw the Wii and they wanted to kind of cater to like a more casual audience, and then now they've kind of seen that didn't work, so they've kind of seen, okay, let's go for more like like gamers, like with all these indies and all these great first party games, and like they're kind of really turning around, but then still with this online, like the last time I did one of these gaming chats, trying to get people to play together in Splatoon was like impossible. Like you can't all load in on the same team sometimes, and sometimes like if you do want to be all on the same team, like you have to have like private lobby. But then if you don't have 8 people, it's basically like sometimes it was 3 people against 1 person, or like 2 against 1, or like really you're just thinking these are basic like steps that games should have. And even indie games can do it now. Like most of them that have online aspects have like matchmaking, which again, like Nintendo never seems to have. Like sometimes you go into Splatoon 2 and you're like level 20 and you have like level 1 players and like level 50 players, and you kind of like, well, where's the balancing? There's no balance to anything. And like I guess they have a ranked mode, but still it's something they need to work on, but it's not something that I think they ever will. I think they're just like, well, now we have it, now we're covering our costs on it, and this is what it's going to be.
Yeah, they're definitely, yeah. Nintendo definitely kind of like, it makes me face palm sometimes, but I mean, I've just kind of accepted it now. I'm just like, okay, like, it's Splatoon is never going to be, even though they do like the esports stuff, it's never going to be like CS:GO, or it's never going to be like Overwatch or like something like that. So I'm just like, I just try and be grateful for what I get, and then all the kind of bad stuff just like ignore or kind of like let it roll off my back and just be like, there's no point getting mad.
It's Nintendo. Yeah. Like, but that's what I mean though. Like maybe Splatoon could be like CS:GO. Like it could be as competitive as those games, and as popular and as like could be like such a cash cow for Nintendo, but it never will be. Like we'll never know, because I can't imagine what it's like for professional Splatoon players who want to organize games against like other high level players. Like it must take so much work and effort. And like I have a few people on Twitter who are big Splatoon players, and I always just think, God, like they must have to go through so much to just play these games with each other.
I think on the version 4 update, they actually did better matchmaking now. So I think if we enter a lobby together, then we will be on the same side.
Yeah, like so. I saw it was in the direct. Yeah, like if there's only 3 of us, they'll fill the team with an extra, like a rando player, which is a lot better, and which I'm looking forward to trying out tonight. Hopefully, if enough people turn up for the game and chat. So that'll be interesting. And like obviously they've seen these problems, but like Splatoon's been out now for I don't know, a year.
Yeah, it's definitely over a year now, right? It's
over a year, yeah.
Start of summer.
So
last year,
July last year, maybe, yeah. So they we'll see. So yeah, if you let us know what your opinions are on the Switch online, Nintendo Switch Online. I always get, for whatever reason, it's like the most basic, boring name for the online features or the online structure, and I never ever get it right. But yeah, so let us know what you think down in the comments on YouTube or Twitter and Instagram or wherever you're kind of watching this content. Like I said, I think most people are positive about it. There's a few that are very negative about it, and I guess there's a few that are kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's what it is. It's only $20, so yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like the price of like one indie game.
Exactly.
For a whole year.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think, was it like $170 a month? If you buy the $20 year thing, and for that you're getting, up to 20, well, at least 20 NES games and cloud.
And you can use your gold points on the membership as well. So I mean, like, if you've got a bit saved up, then like it's not even going to cost you £20 or €20 or $20.
Yeah, it's like I could have. I think I could have saved 140 with mine, but I was like, I'd rather put it towards a game. But yeah,
that'd be a free month almost.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, so it's not expensive. That's not always a good thing though, because I think it might mean that Nintendo thinks like, oh, it's not expensive, so we don't need to improve it that much. But yeah, so it's I'm just interested to see what everyone else thinks about it. So that is our conversation portion over, and I just want to remind you guys that the conversation portion is brought to you by the Switch Indie Fix Discord channel. Like I said, we're going to be playing some games tonight. I hope you all can join. It'd be really cool to get a lot of people together and everyone play together. It's kind of why I set up Switch Indie Fix, to kind of interact with people like yourself, Stevie, and other fans of the Switch, and kind of try and grow a community. Personally, I think the best place to do that is Discord. We have like a few members that are very active, and we have a few members that, I see them there, they're watching or they're online, but they don't really interact that much. So I really want to try and get more people to talk on the Discord. So make sure you go over to switchindiefix.com/Discord.
Everyone's like super friendly and has like intelligent things to say about things. Like everyone has like well-considered comments, even if everyone most of the time people are quite agreeable there actually, but like, occasionally some people have different viewpoints, but no one's ever like, you're wrong. It's just like, oh, I feel this because of X. And someone will say, oh, I feel that because of Y. And then someone will say, oh, okay, let's talk about something else. And then we were talking about a different game. So
that's kind of something like I'm kind of proud of. Like, we don't have that many people, but the people that do talk are all very positive, and sometimes I think they can be like too apologetic about what they say. Like, so sometimes someone will say something and then all of us and then be like, oh yeah, sorry, I was a bit too aggressive on that point. And sometimes I have to be the moderator. Like, I remember once I did what was it? It was some type of Nintendo Switch video, like a direct or something, and I got quite a lot of new people join, because I was like, yeah, we're gonna watch along and talk. And one guy kind of joined and was such like just like kind of like a dick to everyone. And and then it kind of falls on me to be like, well, here's your warning. And he was just very aggressive and just for no reason. So, I just kicked him, because I was like, I don't want those people in my community. So if you are a dick, don't bother joining. We want to have like nice, honest, fair conversation.
Or
and
just,
if you're
just role play not being a dick. And see
try,
if you like it. You might end up like not being a dick.
Yeah, exactly. And you probably find that you'll have more friends and a more fulfilling life if you're nicer to people, which is what I'm trying to promote on the Discord. So yeah, next and final section is the question section. So this week we have, I would say, 2.5 questions. The first one, as always, is from Kool-Aid Moonwalk, who we both know pretty well, Stevie, from r/NintenTube. I've talked about him, I think, every episode of the podcast, because he always asks very intriguing questions. This one is a very specific one about Shovel Knight. So it says, why do you think Shovel Knight stands out among the other 8-bit indie games that have released? What does it do so differently from its peers? So first, I guess we should say, have you played Shovel Knight, Stevie?
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, though. Like, I think I've got to Plague Knight, the boss Plague Knight, and then maybe I might have beat him, but I got pretty much stuck around there, and then I probably bought another game and got distracted.
Yeah, I played it once on holiday, and I got probably like one boss before the final one, and never finished it. I've never been back to it, because I think I came home and downloaded another game and started playing that. But why do I think it stands out? I don't know. I think it's because it's like the first indie game that tried to not copy, but kind of like almost like is like an homage to games like Mega Man. And I think they were the first ones to be like, okay, we're creating a modern version of Mega Man. And I actually read a book called Blood, Sweat and Pixels by Jason Schreier.
I read that on holiday as well. It's a really, really good book.
Yeah, yeah, it's an awesome book. So it talks about lots of different video game development cycles. So there's like Uncharted's in there, Shovel Knight's in there, Stardew Valley's in there, Destiny, The Witcher 3, Diablo 3. Like it talks about all these games that have notoriously difficult development cycles. So if you're interested in video game development or just video games in general, it's a really, really cool book. And what Jason said when he was talking to the developer Yacht Club about Shovel Knight is that they basically wanted to create like an icon, so like almost like a modern day Mario, that would be on kids' t-shirts and kids' lunchboxes. And as we've seen now, it's Shovel Knight is, I think everyone who knows video games knows Shovel Knight. He's in Smash, he's in lots of other indie kind of like crossover games. So I think that's why they wanted to kind of make him an icon. They were kind of like the first indie game that tried to like recreate a game everyone had nostalgia for, but Capcom back then really didn't have an interest in Mega Man, so it was kind of like filling a gap. I also know that they were very clever about their marketing around the game. So I know, like, for an instance, like kind of funny best friends will know that they approached Colin Moriarty with the game, and they knew he was a big Mega Man fan and said, okay, yeah, well, you like Mega Man? This is like our version of Mega Man, and he liked it and kind of championed it. So I think they had like a good marketing approach. And I had one more point, but I can't remember what it is now. Oh, and the game is, I don't know how many years old. I don't know when it first came out. I think 2012, and they still haven't like finished the final DLC for it yet. And if you buy the Treasure Trove edition, you get all the DLC for free. So it's been a game that constantly kind of finds its way at the top of news cycles, because there's new DLC, there's a new mode they've added, and the DLC is also always substantial. It's almost like adding like another aspect to the game, like another third of the game. There was three, right? There was the Plague Knight, the new one's the King Knights one, and
I can't remember what
the third one.
Yeah, I was thinking I know the Plague Knight and I know the King, and I was like, I can't remember what the other one is, and I was hoping that you was going to remember that one.
Spectre Knight. The one with the scythe, I think. Yeah. So, do you have anything to add?
I think also it's just because it looks like a retro game, obviously, and it kind of plays like one, but also I think because it has got like a lot of like modern day kind of polish, and also like it's got kind of like quite a lot of the quality of life stuff as well. So you're kind of, it doesn't feel like you're playing like playing some retro games. You're like, oh, I got that nice warm like fuzzy feeling, and then it gets to a point you're like, oh, games that aren't like that anymore because of like X reason, and that's why it's like, it just makes the game less like irritating. Like they're just,
I guess this is what we just talked about with the NES, the entertainment system. Like everyone has nostalgia for these old games, but I think they forget that they aren't modern. And Shovel Knight's, go on.
It's just they streamline like certain things that just people aren't used to anymore. Like if you had a game now and it was like you didn't have saves but you had passwords, you'd be like, what like what's this? This is so odd. Like, it kind of it wouldn't make any sense, but like I guess it's kind of like that, but to like pretty much every aspect of the game is a modern game, just through like a really
with like an old retro skin. It's like I really should go back and beat it. Maybe when they bring out the final DLC next year, I'll go back and try and play through it all, because like I must have started it 3 or 4 times and never got to the end. Not because I didn't think the game was good. Like I think I started it on Steam once, and then on PS Vita, and then on the Switch like a couple of times. So that's why, I guess, why Shovel Knight stands out against other 8-bit games that have released. And the second question comes from Switch Island, and they ask, how do you guys think Nintendo will juggle the release of their online Netflix-esque service whilst presumably still releasing their mini consoles? So do you think, because I don't know if you've seen this week, but there's been a lot of rumors that Nintendo will be bringing out like the N64 console classic this year, or like a Game Boy classic. So how do you think they're going to juggle it where they're trying to get people to pay like $70 for the classic console, where you can get the Netflix kind of service for only $20 a year?
I think I suppose they could do it a few different ways. They could either just not release all the premium like games on the Switch, or like drag them out, like pace them out over like a long time. So maybe like 2 or 3 every month or every other month. So, yeah. So if they diversify and say they start doing SNES ones and like N64, maybe like one month it's like 3 N64 games, and then the next month it's 3 Game Boy Advance games. So like they're kind of changing the console, so it's never going to be
like drip feeding it a little bit. Yeah,
I guess they could do it like that, or they could actually make the consoles like the classics online capable, maybe, and then so maybe make them a bit cheaper, but have kind of like if you get the online subscription, you can play these games through it. Like maybe it's like or you buy,
that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Or you buy the console and then you get like a year's online free kind of thing. So instead of like buying the NES controllers to go on the side of your Switch, you just buy like a mini N64, and then you play N64 games with that, or you can play it on your Switch.
Yeah. Like so you kind of like with the almost like letting the classic consoles have like a cloud save kind of thing. So it's like you update your save on there, and then you can download it on your Switch as well.
Yeah, so it like only has like one program installed, and that's like the NES online.
Yeah, that could be an option. I think with these classic consoles, like there's like two types of people that buy them. There is like the people that are maybe like now in their like mid-30s, early 40s who grew up with Nintendo games and grew out of them, and they have like a nostalgia for Nintendo, and they see these consoles and they look cool, like the small mini versions of the original consoles, and they think, okay, I'm going to spend like, you know, $70 to however much, like $100 with the PlayStation 1, and I'm going to buy it and I'm going to plug it into my TV, and it might only be like the gaming console they have, and they maybe play it for a few hours, and then it kind of gets put in the cupboard and never gets seen again. Or you have people that are probably like us who own a Switch and they are big enough fans of Nintendo to be like, well, I own a Switch and I need the online service, so I can have all my NES games, or my hopefully in the future SNES or Nintendo 64 games in my handheld that I can take with me anywhere. And I have this cool looking box that I can have on my entertainment system, which, I don't know, hands up in the audience, who still has their NES or SNES even plugged into their TV? Like I would say 90% of the people that own them don't play them anymore. They're probably sat on a shelf somewhere that, you know, when your friends come over, you're like, oh, look at this really cool toy statue I have that actually works, but I don't really play it because, you know, it takes up a HDMI slot in the back of my TV, and I'd rather have my PS4 or my Switch or my Xbox plugged into it. So I think Nintendo is probably just gonna be like, well, yeah, we're gonna go forward. Like, it's gonna annoy some people, like I said, but I feel like the NES, the classic NES has a way better lineup than the Nintendo Entertainment System. But like, I think they're gonna do what you say. Is like every couple of months they're gonna change it and like drip feed games onto it. So it's like, okay, that this month maybe there is like they might put like the first 6 Final Fantasy games on it, or the first however many are on the NES. And then, you know, maybe in a year's time they're like, oh, SNES games are coming to the Switch Online. And like, I hope they do it for free, where they're like, here's like 20 SNES games. But like, some people are thinking maybe then they're going to be like, oh, well, if you want the SNES games, you have to pay like an extra $2 a month or something. And like, that would kind of be annoying. But yeah, I think, I don't think Nintendo's going to juggle it all both, and you either buy one or the other or buy them both. I think a lot of people are just going to buy them both.
Yeah, I kind of think like an N64 classic would be quite hard to do, because a lot of the really good games are Rare games, and they're owned by Microsoft now. Yeah. And like, even though like Nintendo are playing nicely with Microsoft. I don't know if they're going to
Mhm.
be like, yeah, make tons of
Yeah,
money with like, kind of banjo. Yeah, banjo was
yeah,
rare, right?
Banjo, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong Racing, and all those games. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I'm
I
not
had,
really sure how that
yeah,
would
I don't
work.
know. Like, yeah, those licensing agreements are weird because, you know, I Microsoft could definitely can't make any money off those games. They can't publish Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong, but maybe if they cut some deal with Nintendo, maybe we'd see them come to the Switch because or to one of these Nintendo 64 classics. Because then maybe they get royalties off however many they sell. But what I was going to say was with the N64 classic, I think the hardest thing is like making the controller because it's such like an unusual shape and you can't make like a mini version of it because the size is part of the functionality. If you make it any smaller, then there's no way you can like
You'd need
use the
yeah.
Joy-Con and press the back buttons and have to do like this claw thing. So that's going to be interesting to see if they ever how they do that. And like you said, like a lot of the games like Diddy Kong Racing and GoldenEye are all multiplayer. So it's like I wonder how if they're gonna include like 4 of these controllers in the box, and then the box is gonna be like this big, and the classic edition is gonna be this, and the controllers are gonna be like this, and yeah. So
What's your feeling on the N64 controllers? Do you like them or not?
well, like I to be honest, I like I said, I grew up with a PlayStation, and a friend of mine had an N64, and like I was so young that I don't really remember playing them. But then I went to an event here in Vienna where they had like all these retro games, and I remember playing Mario Kart with it and being like, okay, like I can understand what they were thinking with this controller, but the execution really, it's kind of like ahead of its time
Yeah.
with the analog, and then there's like the trigger buttons at the back and stuff like that. And I was playing Mario Kart, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of if you imagine a Joy-Con, you've got your analog stick, and then you've got a trigger and the buttons, and like the control system hasn't really changed, but it was just like the execution. I guess they just didn't know how to do it back then. But yeah, I always just see it as being like almost like a weapon. If you're playing it and breaks into your house, I'd feel pretty safe with one of those in my hand.
I mean, I won't lie, I've definitely used one as a weapon before, but not through someone breaking in, more like competitive, like
yeah.
4-player, multiplayer, like people have definitely been attacked. Whoa.
Okay. Well, it sounds interesting because this also goes into like our half question, where I guess Danny or one of the boys over at Nintendo Switch Island asked, also ask Age of Boredom if he has any similar stories to the release of Final Fantasy 9 and Final Fantasy 13 or 15, as you did to, was it Final Fantasy 8? You
10,
said
10.
10, where you tried picking up girls by breakdancing and then telling them you were going to go play Final Fantasy 10.
Yeah, that didn't work, but she still is like a lifelong friend. So gained a friend.
Yes.
So that's actually better. That's a lot better.
Yeah.
I don't.
No,
I'm afraid that's kind of like the pinnacle of my Final Fantasy / breakdancing stories, I'm afraid.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
sorry.
it's quite interesting. It made me think about if I'd ever had any like big, release day events. But it used to always happen in my town. Like it was a small town, and we only had Tesco's to go buy the game. So what I used to do, and it was always with FIFA, was like on my way to school, I'd go into Tesco's, go to the video game sections, take one of the FIFA boxes, then hide it behind some other game. So then because you have to go to school, right? So you can't buy the game really before school, like for whatever reason. I can't remember. I need my parents there, or I didn't have the money, or whatever. So I used to hide one behind the other games, and then you come back at 4 o'clock or whenever with your parents, and the FIFA box things would all be gone. But I would have my little one hid behind the I don't know, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or something like that. So that was always like a neat trick if you if you like buying physical games and you're worried that they're going to sell out, just take one, hide it, and no one else will find it.
I thought you should have went and put it like behind the baked beans or something like that. So a really random place.
Well, no, because the problem with that is if a member of staff sees it, they're like, oh, why is this here? I need to put it back. But whereas if it's hidden with the other games, no one's really looked through the games. Like, oh yeah, why is there a FIFA edition here? So
no one,
yeah, you know,
no one that works at the supermarket would care. Like,
no, I used to work at Tesco's, and yeah, you know, whenever I saw anything, I'd always...
Oh, I think I just lost you a little bit then.
It's okay.
Maybe that's good because it's not incriminating.
Yeah, true.
I actually this will date me. I used to work at Safeway back in the day.
Yeah, that does date you. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think my grandma worked at Safeway as well.
Safeway's not been a thing for like 15 years at least.
Technically now it's like it was Safeway and then there was like something else, and then didn't it go into like Summerfield, and then now it's Co-op?
I had no idea. I think Safeway is still a thing in the US. Well, someone at me on Twitter if Safeway is still a thing somewhere.
Yeah, I think it definitely is somewhere. But I think now the modern day equivalent is the Co-op. I think that's how it trickled down. And yeah. So anyway, go on. So you worked at Safeway.
We used to do like so much like stupid stuff with putting things in like weird places. I think one person. I mean, I'm saying this to, you know, not to self-incriminate.
Hypothetically, this thing happened. If this
thing may have happened on the last day. May have stuck some fish out of the frozen section in one of the light fittings, to slowly defrost. Yeah.
So was it like on close to the bowl? Because I imagine the heat from the bowl slowly started to defrost the fish, and then maybe slowly started to cook it, and then it probably smelled really bad.
Yeah, that was the general idea. Although, actually, the worst thing that happened was this is so weird. This is like someone got like there was like a teddy or something like that was ripped, and they packed it full of mince. Like mince meat. And
mince.
Yeah, like actual like
I
meat.
thought you said mince. I was like, oh, mince.
Yeah, it smelled really nice. No, like actual like meat. And then they stuck that like really high up on some sliding doors or something. And then slowly over the day it got like more rancid, and it suddenly just fell down, and then like it kind of burst open with all this like
a mince grenade.
Oh, and then like apparently there were like flies in there, and like it was like some proper like horror story kind of people were not happy about that. That one actually definitely wasn't me. So I mean, I know it's not Final Fantasy related, but hopefully one of those.
It's a funny story from your eventful life. Yeah, there's like I said, I used to work for Tesco's, and there's some things that as a customer I don't think you ever want to know.
Oh, definitely not.
You know what goes on in the warehouse? Yeah. But anyway, I guess we should start rounding off the show because I think my phone's going to die of battery. And I guess you've got things to do on your Saturday.
I'm going to an interactive ice cream experience.
Okay, so what could that be?
I'm hoping it's mostly eating ice cream. But...
Yeah, it sounds like maybe you're like, you know, scooping it yourself.
It's at the British Museum of Food, so it's like an ice cream exhibition, but with like interact. I have no idea. It just someone was like,
sometimes you say things. What's come? I hear it. London.
Yeah,
I'm from London. I live in London. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to an interactive ice cream experience at the British Museum of Food, and okay.
It definitely is like London doing London thing. Like London has out London itself with this. Interactive ice cream experience. You mean learning about the history of ice cream and eating it?
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess I don't know. I love London. Like it has its charm. But being a northerner and you know,
London.
Sometimes you just got to shake your head.
I mean, I shake my head all the time. I'm just like, like, oh yeah. Like if I told this to some of my friends, actually, especially more northern friends or people from Manchester, they would just be like, your life is so stupid," and I'll be like, It's one thing. Like I don't know. I guess
most people know, but like I live in Vienna, but I'm originally from the UK. And the first thing they always hear your accent. Oh, you're British, yeah. Oh, where you from? I'm from like North Yorkshire. Oh, yes, is that near London? I'm like, no, well, it's actually like, the northeast of England. And blah. Oh, okay, yeah, but how far away is it from London? Well, it's probably like 200 miles away. Oh, so it's quite far from London. I'm like, yeah, I've told you this, but now I just get to the point where people are like, oh, you're from London. I'm like, yeah, close to London. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Queen's my neighbour.
Because it's one of those things. You just, or like I have a colleague at work who she doesn't speak any English, she only speaks German, and all the time, how's the weather in London? I'm like, no idea. I don't live there.
It's raining.
It's raining. See, your camera's so good. It looks like it must be like a nice autumn morning there, nice and light. But no,
it's raining.
Okay.
It's the camera. It's just the camera makes everything look nice.
No, it looks good. Yeah,
apart from my face. But thank.
At least you can see your face. Like for me, there's just this huge pop filter, this microphone, and like my nose. So yeah, let's do the outro because we're typical British, talking about the weather on a video games podcast. But so thank you everyone for watching, listening, tuning into the live stream. We had a couple of people watch. Stevie, Age of Boredom, thank you for coming on. I always enjoy having a guest, and you're a very good guest to have on. Very insightful. Just to remind the people where they can check your content out.
So I'm Age of Boredom on YouTube, so youtube.com/Age of Boredom. I'm also Age of Boredom on Twitter as well. So, and you can also find me in the Switch Indie Fix Discord. If you fancy having a little kind of look into the Discord, then I will be there.
Awesome plug. Thank you. So the podcast will go up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. The video will go up on YouTube as soon as I can after the show. There'll also be the live show on Instagram. Put that up as a story on Instagram if you want to check that out. And if you want to get in contact with me or with Stevie, hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Switch Indiefix. He's at Age of Boredom. Or you can join us in the Discord server at switchindiefix.com/Discord. And before I forget, if you have any questions for next week's show, make sure you go to switchindiefix.com/SIF podcast. Again, game and chat tonight. Hope to see you all there. And if I don't, have a great weekend. And again, Age of Boredom, thanks for joining.
All right. Thanks very much.